Today, we are cracking the code on what actually motivates us at work. For half a century, researchers have been digging into this, trying to figure out what makes us tick, what drives us to really perform, and what makes a job feel genuinely worthwhile. We're going to take all of that incredible research and distill it down into one single clear map. But first, just think about it for a second. That alarm goes off on a Monday morning. What is the force that actually pulls you into the week? Is it just the number on your paycheck? Is it the satisfaction of a job well done? Or maybe it's the buzz of working with a great team. It's a question we all face, and believe me, the answer is so much more complex and fascinating than you might think. So, to make sense of it all, researchers have basically created a map of motivation, and it's brilliant. It shows how our own internal world, our work environment, and the goals we set for ourselves all interact and connect. This map, well, this is going to be our guide as we navigate the real science of what drives us. So here's our journey for today. First, we're going to decode the basic framework that holds all this together. Then we'll explore the why, our internal drives. After that, we'll look at the where, how our work context shapes everything. Next, we'll dive right into the central engine of it all, goals. And finally, we'll take a little peek into the future of motivation science. Sound good? Let's do it. Okay, first up, let's decode this whole thing with a really simple but incredibly powerful 4-question framework. Believe it or not, the entire massive field of motivation research can pretty much be boiled down to 4 fundamental questions. It all starts with why. Why do we do what we do? That's all about our internal needs and our motives. Then it asks where and when. This is all about the context, our job, our team, the whole situation. And finally, it looks at how and what. How do we choose our path, and what do we actually do to get there? And those last 2, they are all about the incredible power of goals. So let's start with part 2, the big one, the why. It's time to explore our own internal engines. Right at the heart of the why is a concept I'm sure you've heard of, intrinsic motivation. And honestly, this is the good stuff. This is that drive you feel when you do something just because you love it, because the activity itself is the reward. It's not about the bonus, it's not about the promotion, it's about the pure, simple satisfaction you get from the work itself. Really, motivation is a tale of 2 different drivers. On one side, you've got these intrinsic powerhouses. Autonomy, which is our deep desire for control, mastery, that constant urge to get better at what we do, and purpose, our fundamental need for our work to mean something. Then on the other side, you have the extrinsic drivers, the classic carrots and sticks like paychecks, promotions, and bonuses. Now, both of them matter, for sure, but as we're about to see, they don't always play well together. And this quote just illustrates that point perfectly. All the way back in 1972, a pioneering researcher named Edward Deci made this crucial observation. See, money isn't inherently good or bad for motivation. Its effect depends entirely on how it's used. If a bonus feels controlling, like someone's pulling your strings, it can absolutely crush your intrinsic drive. But if it feels like recognition for a job well done, it can be a massive boost. So what does that tell us? It tells us that context is everything. And that leads us perfectly into section 3, the where, because that internal engine of ours, it doesn't operate in a vacuum. Our environment is the key that can either turn it on or shut it right down. This is the classic job characteristics model, and it's basically a blueprint for how to design work that people actually love. It says that jobs become inherently rewarding when they have 5 core things. Skill variety, so you're not just doing one repetitive thing. Task identity, where you see a project through from start to finish. Task significance, where you understand why your work matters, autonomy, of course, and getting clear feedback. When you have these things, work stops feeling like a chore and starts feeling that intrinsic motivation we were just talking about. But it's not just the tasks you do, right? It's the people you do them with. Your social environment is a huge piece of this puzzle. Do you feel that things are fair? That's equity theory in a nutshell. Are you and your team all pulling in the same direction? And what about your leaders? Do they empower and inspire you, or do they just control you? These social factors can make or break your motivation, no matter how cool the work itself is. Which brings us to the very center of our map, goals. This is the engine room of motivation. This is where our internal why and our external where get translated into the how and the what of actually getting things done. The research on goal setting is honestly one of the biggest blockbusters in all of psychology. The findings are just so solid. Vague goals like, hey, just do your best, are basically useless. What you need are specific goals.
Not only that, but difficult, challenging goals are way more motivating than easy ones, as long as we're truly committed to them. And of course, you need that regular feedback loop to know if you're even on track. It's a simple formula, but wow, is it powerful.
And here's a totally fascinating psychological quirk. So imagine you're thinking about running a marathon. Before you sign up, you're in what's called a deliberative mindset. You're open-minded, you research different races, you weigh all the pros and cons, you worry about the training. But the second you pay that entry fee and commit, bam, your brain flips a switch. You enter an implemental mindset. Your focus just narrows down to execution, finding a training plan, buying the right shoes, getting it done. You've gone from weighing to willing. So now you can see how goals are this critical link right in the center of our map. They take our deep internal motives, that's the why, and they connect them with our work environment, the where. And that connection is what determines how we act and what we ultimately do. Simply put, goals are what turn motivation into actual motion. So look, if there is one big thing to take away from all this, it's this. Motivation isn't a simple on-off switch. It's a dynamic, living system. Your internal drivers, the context you work in, and the goals you're chasing are all constantly talking to each other. You can't just focus on one part of the map. You have to see the whole interconnected system. Okay, finally, let's take a quick look into the future with our last section. What's next for the science of motivation? Where is this all headed? The field is pushing into some really exciting new territory. For example, researchers are exploring non-conscious processes, the hidden automatic thoughts that drive us without us even realizing it. They're studying resource depletion, this fascinating idea that our willpower is kind of like a muscle that can get tired and be used up. And they're looking at embodied cognition, how our physical body, things like our posture or our heart rate, can actually shape our motivation and decisions. The map is definitely still being drawn. So, we've journeyed through the entire map of motivation, from the deep why inside of us to the where that's all around us, and we've seen how it's all connected by the power of goals. The question I want to leave you with is this. Now that you have the map, where do you need to focus to supercharge your own motivation? Is it about connecting to a deeper purpose? Maybe redesigning your job? Or is it about setting clearer, bigger, more challenging goals? The map is in your hands now.